All right, so everybody loose, everybody kind of warm. All right, so I'm just gonna let us play around a little bit. This does not have to be as live as that stuff was warming up. Devin doesn't necessarily have to be like trying super hard to get out of my mount, but I do want him to be like bucking around, moving his hips just a little bit, touching my hips, like maybe trying to shrimp a little bit. But I just want to kind of front load some information here, and then we're going to kind of disperse, and I'm going to give y'all a good amount of time to work on this. So I'm going to talk about like overall body, and then head, hips, and feet. And I'm going to give some cues for each one, and I'll come around and help. So when we're mounted here, there's low mount and there's kind of high mount. If you want to focus on some high mount stuff, that's cool, but I'm mostly going to be doing low mount stuff here. All right, so if I asked Devin to turn left or right without being able to move his head left or right, he can't do that. So as much as possible with the head first, we would like to like box his head in. So it's a lot like last month actually, when if I'm on the back here for a second, how we had this head pin right here to kind of box his head in a little bit. We're gonna do the same thing from this low mount. So we're usually gonna have our bicep around the corner to just kind of corral the head on that side. And we're just gonna kind of drop temple to temple here. And I mean, it's not impossible for Devin to move his head, but it's harder, you know, than if I'm up here and he just has free reign to just decide what to do, right? I've got him mounted, so I just kind of want to bully him and as much as possible, just not let him do that, all right? So I'm also gonna reinforce that with this hand on this side, and you can even push into their head like that. And that's really gonna make it difficult for him to turn his head side to side. If I have to come off this for a second, that's fine. Like if he reaches down and touches my hips, if I have to reach down and peel that off, I can, and then I can come back to that head pin, all right? With my hips, I would like to be engaged a little bit, but I don't want to be like driving in so hard that I'm super tense everywhere. And then if you bridge or buck or kip or something, yeah, I'm getting bucked around. So you can think about trying to take the weight of your knees off the mat. It's super subtle, like the skin of my knees is kind of touching the mat, but the weight of my knees is not like super heavy on the mat. My knees are not heavy on the mat, but they are kind of touching the mat. So I'm just hips engaged into the diaphragm a little bit, and I'm pulling my feet just up. You can cross your ankles, but sometimes that gives him like a solid target to move off of. So a lot of times I think it helps to keep your feet separate while you do this. And then the most important thing is just the overall body sensation of being super relaxed and trying to pretend like you're a waterbed, right? So if I'm down here, if I was a waterbed, if you push up on one part of me, I'm just gonna kind of collapse around the other spots. So if you were to just like bench press right there, if I'm stiff, let me go down one time and do that one time. I'm gonna be stiff. I move kind of easy, but if I'm relaxed, you can just kind of flop around the person. And if we just move around from here a little bit, I've got my head pin, making sure I'm breathing. I'm staying relaxed. I'm just trying to fill in all the spaces. So if you were to like push up on a shoulder, you can kind of make that shoulder dead and let that weight come through another spot. If he pushes up on the other shoulder, same thing, and you're just kind of being like dead weight on top. And then if I can get underneath an elbow, that's gonna be awesome. And then we're not starting that way, we're gonna end up there. So just get on top of your partner, practice being heavy, relax with this head pin, hips engaged and feet back. And then after you're melty and heavy dead weight on top for a minute, see if you can circle your hand underneath an elbow and scoop it up. And then let your partner go. Yep, let's just move around. I'm not like really trying hard to get out, but I'm just moving around. I'm staying alive for him. I'm not just gonna lay here like a dead fish. Right, I'm gonna move a little bit. Yeah, that feels pretty horrible. If you can get under my elbow, scoop it up. And then we'll swap, okay? I'll come around and help out. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.